Brightside St. Louis, next on City Corner. Hi, I'm Sarah Thompson and welcome to City Corner. Today we're going to be talking with Brightside St. Louis. Many of you know them as Operation Brightside, and they've been dedicated to greening and cleaning St. Louis for the past 34 years. Joining me in studio is Beth, MacKenzie, and Elysia Musumeci. Did I get it right? Very good, very good. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So, you know, Operation Brightside is known to many of us for so long, and then you guys recently rebranded your name to Brightside St. Louis. What was the story behind the name change?
So, yes, for many years we were Operation Brightside, and lots of people were very familiar with our programs and who we were. And it wasn't that we wanted to kind of get away from that, but we just wanted to refresh our brand and kind of become relevant in, you know, the changing world. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be new and fresh, and so we wanted to keep up with that and be new and fresh and make sure that we were still relevant in the community. And
do sort of a rebrand. I always feel, you know, people always say greening and cleaning when they associate with the name Brightside St. Louis, and it doesn't fully describe everything that you do because there's so much in the community and you really make a huge difference. I think with today we're going to kind of walk through some of the programs, but briefly, what is the mission of Brightside St. Louis?
So Brightside started in 1982, and since then our mission has always basically been that, to green and clean St. Louis. But it is more than that, mm-hmm. and so now we've kind of updated our mission as well, mm-hmm. and it's more comprehensive. So we are educating, inspiring, and engaging St. Louisans to help make our region cleaner, greener, and also more environmentally sustainable. Mm-hmm. So
let's talk about, this notion of when we live in our communities, in our neighborhoods, whether we talk about it or recognize it as much, how it looks plays such an important factor in how we feel about it, how safe we feel, how, you know, getting out, walking outside that door, it really is quite vital to where you live in a neighborhood. Talk about how vital that is in terms of just the aesthetics of where you live, how it looks.
Right. So people like to be in places that are clean and green. It makes you feel more comfortable, and Brightside's programs, we have programs that do just that. They clean up litter and trash around the city. We plant flowers. We have volunteers that plant flowers. And then we also remove graffiti from vandalized properties. And so if you think about walking down the street and where you feel most comfortable, you're going to feel more comfortable in a place that is clean and looks like people are caring for it and that there are people active in that area, mm-hmm. versus a place that looks like nobody really cares. And, you know, if there's litter and trash everywhere and graffiti everywhere, it makes you just feel less safe in that area. So our programs help to make people feel more comfortable in our own city.
And part of it too is you're getting people involved to do that. If you want to speak to that, Elysia, as well, it's not the two of you going out. It's right. Getting the entire community engaged to do these things.
Right. So neighborhood groups and different community organizations come to us and are like, what can I do to help make my neighborhood look nicer? There's all this litter in the alley. What should I do? Well, with the Blitz program, we lend out the tools that neighbors need to clean up their alley. And we have recycling carts and trash bags, and when you have everything you need to do, all you have to do is go out there and put that effort out there. So when the neighbors get involved or the community organization take the time and put that sweat equity into cleaning their neighborhood, then it's caring just a little bit more. You know, the next time they see a bottle or can on the ground, they're going to take that extra step and throw it away.
Mm-hmm. And it also shows the other people that are in that area, mm-hmm. that somebody is out there putting the sweat equity into the, mm-hmm. neighborhood, and then that makes them more likely to want to participate, want to do things as well, right. and less likely to throw that can on the ground, mm-hmm. if they see that there are people out there picking up those cans.
Right. No, and I think sweat equity is a great way to describe it, because as people see their neighbors, mm-hmm. doing something for the betterment of the entire neighborhood, it encourages other people, right. to do that.
And it kind of connects you even more to your neighborhood than just, oh, this is where I live, this is my address. No, this is what we do here. We care. We keep our neighborhood clean, and I think it just ties you just a little bit more to like the grounds that you live with.
Yeah, when you put that sweat equity into your neighborhood, then you have more of a commitment to making sure that it stays nice and clean and beautiful.
What I also love is you guys have your educational outreach, and we've got this great video that we're going to take a look at in a bit from New City School. But talk about even encouraging young people to get involved in terms of recycling and to care about the cleaning and greening of their neighborhood.
Yeah, so Brightside, like we all know, has been around since 1982, so it's been around a long time. And a lot of the people that were around when it first started, you know, they were the ones that were involved in the very beginning, and they've continued to be the ones that have been involved throughout the years. And so it's really important to keep getting more and more young people engaged so that Brightside will continue to be successful in helping clean and beautify our city. And so, yeah, definitely getting the youth involved is very important. We are doing recycling outreach and education now in partnership with the City of St. Louis, so we want to get more people recycling. And Elysia is sort of spearheading the outreach and education for recycling in the city. And so if you want to
So you want to set up this video that we're about to take a look at.
So this video is done by New City Schools. That's part of their
service project.
Their own service project. And so they came to us, we asked them to do a recycling video, and so we're gonna use this awesome video and share it with other schools and community groups, and it'll really help us drive that message of what you can recycle, what you can't, and why it's important.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the recycling video by New City School. Check it out.
Let's get ready to recycle! Yeah! Recycling is easy. There's nothing to it. It's good for the community. It's good for the earth. Everyone can recycle. Just put your recyclables in a handy blue bin and take them to your nearest recycling center. When you drop off your recyclables, make sure you follow simple guidelines. Keep them loose. Make sure they're clean. Make them flat. And keep them dry. By doing these things, you make it possible for recycling companies to do their jobs. If we do our part, they can do theirs. And that means there can be more recycling than ever. And the more we recycle today, the better off we'll be tomorrow. Hey, I just noticed how much trash was on the sidewalk and streets when I was coming over to meet you all. You would think that by now people would be more respectful to the Earth's importance. We have a lot of work to do about this in St. Louis. No doubt. Let's round up some kids and plan what we can do. Yeah! Listen up, friends, you you can see, recycling is easy. Just remember to keep it loose, clean, flat, and dry. And tell everyone you know to do their part and recycle! Yeah!
All right. Well, they did a great job. I have to give props to New City School. It's a catchy song, and so you're going to use this for your outreach purposes.
Yep,
Yes.
we definitely want to share this with other schools that we go to teach them about recycling. We want to share with community groups, and they really did such a good job summing everything up. Keep your recyclables loose, clean, dry, flatten cardboard, and then everything you can put in your bin, which there's really only 6 things. It's bottles, cans, cartons, paper, cardboard, and glass. It's really simple.
I think back to just even when I was their age, and just recycling was something that was kind of like just, I wouldn't say coming of age, but in terms of the mass level that it is, how important, considering now most kids know to recycle from as they're brought up, compared to when Brightside first started 30 years ago, how important is it to continue that message, or do you have to craft it differently since people know about it, but they might forget certain elements of what they need to do?
You just need to keep up with what people know, and by interacting with the community and being there to answer questions, we can always stay up to date with what people definitely know and what may have turned into a myth over time, or what things have changed.
Yeah, because a lot of times people say, oh, I recycle everything I can, and then we ask them, oh, are you recycling this? Are you recycling that? And then, oh, I didn't know that could be recycled. And so as the recycling industry grows, then more and more things become recyclable, and so we have to make sure that people know that those things can now be recycled. So we're going to be launching our new recycling website soon, and you'll be able to find out everything you need to know about recycling.
I think that's an excellent point, and we can actually pick up more on that when we come back. We're going to actually take a quick break, but we're going to have more Brightside St. Louis information is there on your screen. You can go to brightsidestl.org, but don't go anywhere. They've got tons of programs, and we're going to kind of go through each of those programs and what they have in store for the rest of 2016. Please stay with us here on City Corner.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
G-morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back.
Are you with your friends? That's lame.
We're in a huge fight right now. XO.
What'd you dream about?
Something I did.
Are you
on your way to the
I'm
beach?
lonely.
Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Hi, I'm Sarah Thompson, and welcome back to City Corner. Today we're talking with Brightside St. Louis. It's a nonprofit organization that has been around since 1982, dedicated to greening and cleaning St. Louis. And again, joining me is Beth, MacKenzie, and Elysia Musumeci. Thank you guys for being here again. So I want to pick up where we left off about recycling, because recycling has always been a big sort of cornerstone of Brightside St. Louis. And then you brought up an interesting point before we took off, which is, when you first started Brightside St. Louis 30 years ago, the push was to recycle, of course, but back then it was mainly aluminum cans and paper and some plastics. And now we've kind of gotten a little bit more sophisticated in our recycling. Is that correct?
Yes. So before you had to separate everything out, or there couldn't be labels on bottles and things like that. But now it's a single stream process, so that means everything can get mixed in to one single stream. So now you can just toss everything in there, and it's a lot simpler. And as technology increases, it's only going to get easier, really.
That's good, and I hope people are saying to you off camera that as soon as you come up with one advancement in technology in terms of recycling, it seems that manufacturers want to create more ways sometimes to combat that. But we do the best we can, and I think that's fantastic. Tell me a bit about the site too, that operation, or Brightside St. Louis runs the recycling site.
So we have a recycling drop-off site on Kings Highway, basically right at the corner of Kings Highway and the I-44 overpass. And you can bring your recyclables there. You can also bring electronics there for recycling.
They do paper shredding.
They do paper shredding as
Oh,
well.
great.
So yes, that site has been there for many years, and so
You can always
Right.
go.
And the city also has maybe 60 drop-off sites throughout that any resident can go by. You know, if you're on your way somewhere, you can dump your recyclables in there. You just got to look for the blue bin.
right. And recycling is easier than ever now because most alleys have a blue recycling dumpster where you can just go right out your back door into the alley and put your recyclables right in that blue recycling bin.
So you have no reason not to.
Exactly.
Well, as we're seeing this picture of the daffodils on the highway, this is another program that I think a lot of people over the past decades have known Brightside St. Louis for. Let's talk about sort of the greening aspect of what it is that you do.
Yeah, so Brightside is very well known for the daffodils. I think that's probably one of the oldest programs that people are familiar with, and we plant thousands and thousands and thousands of daffodils every year. We don't plant so many on the highways anymore. We do more plantings in town, so street medians, parks, neighborhood entrances, public spaces inside the city is where we're really focusing on planting those now.
And does that fall under your Neighbors Naturescaping program?
So Neighbors Naturescaping is another beautification program that we have. You can get daffodils through that program, but that is actually more focused on native plants.
Okay.
And so it's an application process that you would have to go through. Any community group can apply, and basically you just have to have an organized group of people who are willing to plan their garden, plant the garden, and then maintain the garden after it's been planted. And it's for planting on public spaces. So if you want to beautify a public space in your neighborhood, for example, like I said, street medians or a neighborhood entrance or LRA lot are also eligible. And you would apply for that program, and the applications are going to be due in August this year.
Okay.
So you'll have basically from now until August to get your application in, and we have some workshops that people can come if they have questions, and so it's really to help community groups who they want to do something in their neighborhood, but they just don't have the tools to be able to do it, and so we provide up to $1,500 worth of plants and tools for them to be able to do that.
And the program's grown every year. So I think this summer will be the 21st year of Neighbors Naturescaping. And last year, I think we helped aid to beautify or implement a garden. It was over 700 gardens or community spaces, right?
Yeah, last year we got our total to over 700. So last year I think we supported about 40 gardens, and that brought our total to about 700 over the 21 years.
Well, speaking of groups, and you were talking about beautifying and planting, let's talk about the Blitz cleanups, because that's another one that I think a lot of people know, and it's maybe beautifying, but in a different kind of way. Tell me more about the Blitz program.
Yeah, so really, I mean, one of the main things that people can do to help beautify our city is pick up litter, clean up litter, make sure that the streets and alleys are clean. And not only does that help make it more nice to look at, but it prevents pests from, digging in the garbage and mosquitoes from laying eggs in little cups that have water in them. And so it helps not only the appearance of the city, but also the health of our residents by keeping our neighborhood clean. And this year we actually started something new with our Blitz program. We have recycling carts that are available.
Yep, so we always have trash bags to give out for the cleanups, but now we have these great recycling carts on wheels, so neighborhood groups and community organizations can borrow the carts, and then as they're going through the alley, you can put all your bottles and cans, and if you find some clean newspaper, cardboard like that, throw it in the cart, and then when you're done, just dump it in your blue bin. So in addition to cleaning up the alley and getting rid of the trash, we're now separating those recyclables and diverting those materials from the landfill. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah, and the other great thing is that a few years ago we sort of changed the format of Blitz, and so it used to be that we would pick out a date, and everybody would come out on that one specific date and do their cleanup. Well, sometimes the date didn't work well for people. It would be their house tour for their neighborhood, or they, had a bunch of people that were going to be out of town. And so now you can do a cleanup year round, and you don't have to do just one cleanup. You're not limited to just one. You can do a spring cleanup, a summer cleanup, a fall cleanup, as many as you want. And we'll provide the trash bags, and if you need tools like shovels, rakes, brooms to help with your cleanup, you can borrow those from us. We have a tool loan program, so you just need to go on the website and register your project, and we can provide that for you.
When you look back at some of the sort of archival photos from Brightside St. Louis, I think a lot of people will see the graffiti removal ones. I know I've seen some of your archive photos, and back from the 80s, you see a lot of that. Is that still a program that you do?
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we still have a graffiti crew that goes out and removes graffiti. They blast it with like a power washer off of brick surfaces and concrete surfaces, and then they paint over painted surfaces. And it's a service that a lot of people find very valuable, because if you walk out your door and you see that your garage has been tagged with graffiti, it's so disheartening, and some people, may not have the resources to be able to get it cleaned off, or they don't know how. And so they call us, and we're able to help and make them feel whole again, I guess, so that they feel safe in their home, in their neighborhood.
And the program's free.
Yes.
So that's a bonus too.
Yeah.
And I think, was it last year how many square feet was it? I think it was like over almost 300,000
Yeah,
Really?
we moved from about 4,000 locations, and it was about 300,000 square feet.
The work that Brightside St. Louis does is really vital, because I think, it's one of those things that I don't think we talk about enough, but it's still so present in our everyday life that we kind of take it for granted. When you walk outside your door, whether you live in an apartment building or a home, and how the street looks, how your neighborhood looks, has everything to do with how you're going to feel in terms of safety or just mental well-being. Is just feeling safe in a beautiful environment. And so it's something to be said for keeping the streets clean, recycling, planting. It has so much to do with our day-to-day, just mental health, even of how we feel in our environment.
Right. I mean, and visitors, you have relatives that come to St. Louis and like, oh, you live in the city? Like, yes, I live in the city. Look how great it is. And so we're really excited just to keep everything positive and looking good.
Yeah, and over the years, our programs have evolved and that sort of thing, but we've always come back to that main message, and that is getting people involved in the community, getting them to come out and help clean up, help plant plants, and help to recycle. And like I said before, when they come out and are involved in those programs, then they become more invested in the city, and they become more invested in their neighborhood, and are more willing to continue doing those things.
Before we start to wrap things up, I want to say if people drive by your location, your office, they will see this demonstration garden that is just adjacent to your office. Tell me about the demonstration garden.
Yeah, so our demonstration garden is great.
You can't miss it. There's a giant monarch butterfly and purple coneflower awning domes.
Yeah, so if you're driving down Kings Highway at the corner of Kings Highway and Shenandoah, you'll see our garden. Like Elysia said, you can't miss it. And it's full of native plants that are native to Missouri, that have evolved here and can survive in our climate conditions. And part of the demonstration garden was just to beautify that lot. It sat vacant for many years, and so we wanted to beautify that lot. And we have a great partnership with the Missouri Department of Conservation, and they said, well, if you're going to beautify the lot, why don't you use Missouri native plants so that people can learn about how Missouri native plants can be beautiful, and also the environmental and wildlife benefits that they have, and also just for your health. So native plants are great for attracting wildlife like birds and butterflies and bees. Actually, part of the Neighbors Naturescaping program includes the Milkweeds for Monarchs, the mayor's initiative, and so we help people, those neighborhood groups, to plant butterfly gardens to attract those native pollinators. And then not only do the native plants attract those pollinators, but they also absorb stormwater runoff. So, you know, lots of people have issues with flooding when we have so much pavement everywhere. So the native plants have really deep roots. They can absorb that stormwater, and they also don't require the pesticides and herbicides that a lot of the ornamental plants do. So, you know, we're not using all those materials that can end up being hazardous to our health.
So when you come to the garden, you'll actually get to learn, like it's a demonstration garden, so you'll learn what those plants are. When you walk by, you'll say, oh wow, this is a black-eyed Susan. I would like this in my yard. And the garden's kind of set up in different like ecosystems. So if you have more dry land or you want to build a rain garden, when you walk through, like not only are you enjoying the experience of the garden, but you learn as well.
Yeah, you can see which plants will work in the environment that you have at your house or in your neighborhood.
And can people just stop by
Yeah.
to visit anytime?
Open 24/7. Anybody can walk through, and there's interpretive signage. So if we're not in the office, you can, you know, just walk through and read the signs. Or if we're in the office and you have questions, you can just stop in, and we'll be happy to show you around.
All right, well, we've got the information there for you on the screen. It's Brightside St. Louis. They have numerous programs, the Neighbors Naturescaping, Blitz cleanups, the demonstration garden, as we've just talked about, bulb sales, which we didn't quite get to, but people can learn more on your website, and of course, the graffiti removal. If any of these programs are of interest of you in terms of volunteering or you want to receive the services, please call the number on your screen, 314-772-4646, or visit brightsidestl.org. And thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work. We
Thank
love
you.
Brightside St. Louis here. You guys do tremendous work, so thank you again.
Thank you.
We couldn't do it without our volunteers.
No.
Shout out to the volunteers
Yes.
then before we leave. All right, thank you again. And thank you at home for watching City Corner. Please keep it right here on STL TV. Experience St. Louis.